The galaxy mocked Earth's exit until they saw the true cost part. The grand hall of the Galactic Council gleamed with polished stone and shimmering force fields. Alien representatives from 100 worlds filled the chamber, their bodies of all shapes and colors. Some floated in bubbles of special gas. Others stood on mechanical legs. A few glowed with inner light. At the center of it all stood Commander Elaine Winters, the last official Earth representative to the Galactic Confederation. She wore the dark blue uniform of Earth Space Command with its silver star insignia. Her gray-streaked hair was pulled back in a tight bun. Her face showed no emotion, though inside she felt both anger and relief. "The people of Earth hereby withdraw from the Galactic Confederation," she said. Her voice echoed through the hall. "As of today, all treaties and trade agreements are ended. We will return to our solar system and remain there. We ask only to be left in peace." A ripple of sounds passed through the chamber, clicking mandibles, hissing breath, vibrating membranes. It took Elaine a moment to realize what she was hearing. They were laughing. Ambassador Zixtaron floated forward. His body was a swirl of purple gas contained in a transparent suit. Small lights blinked where his face should be. "The humans retreat to their little rock," he said. His translator made his voice sound like tinkling bells. "How predictable. Your species always gives up when faced with true challenge." Counselor Vexnara moved to join him. She looked like a walking crystal formation, with sharp edges and rainbow reflections. When she moved, she made sounds like wind chimes. "Perhaps when your species grows beyond its weak biological form, you might rejoin civilization," she said. "Until then, enjoy your isolation." More laughter filled the chamber. Earth had joined the Confederation 50 years ago, after aliens first contacted them. At first, humans had been excited to join the galactic community. That excitement faded when they learned their place in it. To the older races, humans were simple laborers at best. Earth provided basic farm goods and raw materials. Human workers filled the lowest jobs on alien worlds. The Confederation took Earth's resources at low prices and sold them technologies that never quite worked right. When Earth's leaders complained about unfair treatment, they were ignored. When they tried to improve their position, they were blocked. Earth had no real vote in the council. No voice that mattered. Now they were leaving and the mighty aliens found it funny. Elaine kept her face blank. Let them laugh. They didn't know what was coming. "This meeting is over," she said. She turned her back on the council and walked out. It was a calculated insult, but she didn't care anymore. Outside the council chambers, her assistant, Sam Porter, waited. He was young, barely 30, with short brown hair and serious eyes. "How did they take it?" he asked. "They laughed," Elaine said. Sam nodded. "Just as we expected." Together they walked through the gleaming corridors of Galactic Central, the massive space station that served as the Confederation's capital. Aliens moved around them, some flying, some crawling, some walking on 2, 4, or more legs. Most ignored the humans. A few watched them pass with what might have been amusement. Elaine and Sam entered a transport pod that carried them to the docking bay where Earth's diplomatic ship waited. The vessel was small and plain compared to the grand ships of the older races. The aliens called it primitive. Earth called it reliable. As they boarded, Elaine looked back at the vast, shining space station. For 50 years, humans had tried to find their place here. Now they were giving up, or so the aliens thought. "Send the signal," she told Sam once they were inside. Sam opened a secure channel and spoke 3 words. "The door closes." Across the galaxy, human diplomats, traders, and workers received the message. Within hours, they would all head home. Earth was pulling back not just politically but physically. Every human in space would return to the solar system. The ship detached from the station and moved away. Through the viewport, Elaine watched Galactic Central grow smaller. She wouldn't miss it. "They think we're running away," she said quietly. "Let them think that," Sam replied. "Operation Exodus isn't a retreat. It's preparation." 12 hours later, Their ship arrived at the Earth fleet's gathering point behind Jupiter's moon Callisto. Hundreds of vessels floated in the shadow of the giant planet, hidden from casual observation. Military ships, research vessels, civilian transports. Every human-built spacecraft was coming home. Admiral Paul Russell greeted them aboard the flagship, Freedom. He was a tall man with dark skin and close-cropped hair going white at the temples. His uniform bore the scars of long service. "Commander Winters," he said with a salute. "Was the message delivered?" "Yes, sir," Elaine replied. "The Council received our withdrawal notice." "Their reaction?" "Exactly as predicted. They laughed." "Admiral," Russell nodded, his face grim. "Pride comes before a fall," he said. "Something humans learned long ago that the Confederation never has." He gestured to a nearby view screen. "Let me show you our progress." The screen lit up with images of Earth, not the blue-green planet's surface, but what lay beneath. Vast underground complexes, huge machines humming with power, construction projects on a scale never before attempted. The Transcendence Protocol is on schedule, said Admiral Russell. Dr. Garcia reports 97% completion. "And the colonies?" asked Elaine. "All 7 have finished their preparations. They're ready to go dark on your command." Elaine felt a weight on her shoulders. 3 billion humans across 8 worlds were counting on this plan. If it failed, humanity might not get another chance. "The Council believes we're retreating in shame," she said, "running back to our little rock to hide." "And that's exactly what we want them to think," said the Admiral. "They've always underestimated us, now they're doing it one last time." On a view screen, Earth turned slowly. From space, it looked peaceful. Few could guess at the revolution brewing beneath its surface. "Begin the countdown," ordered Admiral Russell. "In 6 months, humanity disappears." In an underground lab beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Alan Garcia made final adjustments to an array of gleaming machines. Holographic displays showed data streaming past faster than human eyes could follow. His team of scientists worked around the clock, their faces tired but excited. His assistant, Nicole Bennett, approached with fresh coffee. "Will it work?" she asked quietly. Dr. Garcia smiled. "It has to," he said. "The galaxy mocked us for being stuck in our bodies, limited by physics as they understand it." He gestured to the machines. "They're about to learn how wrong they were." The countdown had begun. In 6 months, the galaxy would stop laughing. The galaxy mocked Earth's exit until they saw the true cost part. 6 months passed quickly. The Galactic Confederation paid little attention to Earth during this time. A few trading ships reported that humans had become oddly quiet. Earth had shut down most communication with outside worlds. Their colonies had reduced exports, but the aliens weren't concerned. They saw it as proof that humans were sulking after their withdrawal. On the colony world of New Horizon, around the star Tau Ceti, Susan Miller watched the second sun rise from her porch. The small farming colony was home to 50,000 humans. Susan had lived there for 15 years, growing crops that were shipped across the galaxy. "It's almost time," said her husband Frank, joining her with 2 cups of coffee. Susan nodded. "I'm nervous." "Everyone is," Frank replied. "But we've been preparing for months. The transition chambers are ready." Inside their home, 2 silver pods waited. Similar pods sat in every home across the colony. The government had delivered them, with strict instructions. Be inside when the signal comes. Across 7 star systems in every human colony, the same scene played out. People said goodbye to the physical worlds they had known. Some with fear, some with excitement, all with determination. On Earth, Admiral Paul Russell stood in the Global Command Center. Screens showed images from all human worlds. Billions of people were entering transition chambers. It was the largest coordinated action in human history. "Status report," he ordered. "All systems are green," reported Maya Collins, his executive officer. Her fingers moved across glowing displays. "Transcendence protocol is powered up and stable." Dr. Alan Garcia worked at the main control station. His face showed the strain of sleepless nights. "The network is connected. All nodes are responding. We're ready, Admiral." Paul took a deep breath. Once they started, there was no going back. Earth had bet everything on this plan. "Send the signal," he ordered. Dr. Garcia pressed his palm against a scanner. "Signal sent. Transcendence begins in 60 seconds. On New Horizon, Susan and Frank Miller lay in their pods. The lids had closed automatically. Inside, soft blue light pulsed around them. "Are you afraid?" Frank asked through the pod's communication system. "Yes," Susan answered honestly. "But also ready. The Confederation has pushed us around long enough." A gentle voice spoke from the pod speakers. "Transcendence in 10 seconds. 9, 8. Susan closed her eyes. She thought of her physical body, the farm she loved, the blue skies of New Horizon. Then she thought of what waited beyond. 3, 2, 1. A sensation like falling and flying at the same time. Susan felt her mind expanding, stretching, reaching out to something vast. For a moment there was pain, then wonder. "Oh," she gasped. "I can see." Across human space, 3 billion people experienced the same transformation. Their consciousness transferred from biological brains to a new substrate that existed partly in normal space and partly in dimensions humans had only recently discovered. Their bodies remained in the pods, alive but empty, like shells left behind, in the interstitium, as scientists called this new layer of reality. Susan opened eyes that were no longer physical. She saw her husband not as a body but as a pattern of energy and thought. Around them, thousands of other consciousness patterns joined together. She could sense them all, a vast network of human minds. "We did it," Frank said, his thoughts touching hers. "We've transcended." On the Galactic Council station, alarms began to sound. Emergency signals came from monitoring posts near human space. Intelligence Director Kreval rushed into the council chamber. He belonged to a species that looked like tall insects with 4 arms and compound eyes. "Emergency session," he announced. "We have a situation with the humans." The council members gathered quickly. High Chancellor Ixos, a blue-skinned being, with tendrils instead of hair, took the central position. "Report," he ordered. Kreval activated a holographic display. 3 billion humans have vanished simultaneously from all their worlds. Completely disappeared. Murmurs filled the chamber. Counselor Vex Nara's crystal form flickered with surprised light patterns. "Impossible," she said. "No species has mass teleportation technology." "It's not teleportation," Kreval replied. "They're simply gone. Our sensors detect their cities, their technology, even their ships. But no biological signatures, no humans." High Chancellor Ixos leaned forward. "Could they have evacuated? With what ships? We monitor their space. There wasn't enough traffic to move even a small percentage of their population. They've vanished without leaving their planets." The council chamber erupted in confused discussion. Ambassador Zix Turan's gaseous form swirled with agitation. "Could it be a weapon?" he asked. "Something that destroyed them all?" "No radiation. No signs of violence or destruction," said Kreval. "It's as if they simply stepped out of our reality." The council sent investigation teams to human worlds. On New Horizon, alien scientists found empty houses with meals half-eaten on tables, vehicles abandoned in streets, farm equipment left running in fields. Everything was perfectly preserved, as if the entire population had vanished in mid-action. The investigation team entered Susan and Frank Miller's house. They found 2 silver pods in the bedroom. Inside each pod was a human body, alive but unresponsive. Brain activity was minimal. Whatever made these humans conscious was gone. The same scene greeted investigators on every human world. Billions of bodies in life support pods, technically alive but empty of mind. In the central computer of New Horizons Colony Administration Building, the aliens found something else. All data had been erased except for a single message displayed on every screen. "We have moved forward. We are sorry you cannot follow. The Galactic Council held an emergency session to discuss the findings. The chamber was tense with confusion and fear. "What does it mean?" asked High Chancellor Ixos. "What have they done?" Grexmore, a Vexillian scientist, offered his theory. "Perhaps mass suicide from shame? Their physical forms live, but they may have destroyed their own minds rather than face their failure in galactic society." The Council found this explanation comforting. It fit their view of humans as primitive and emotional. They decided the human worlds were now abandoned property. Plans were made to divide Earth's territories among the major powers. Only one voice objected. Council anthropologist Zara Chintel had studied human history and culture. She stood before the Council with concern on her face. "In all recorded human history," she said, "they have never surrendered valuable territory without purpose. This isn't retreat or suicide. It's strategy." The Council ignored her warning. They were too busy claiming the unexpected prize of developed worlds without troublesome native populations. 3 years would pass before they discovered their mistake. The galaxy mocked Earth's exit until they saw the true cost. Part 3 years passed. The Galactic Confederation divided the abandoned human worlds among themselves. The Mithrans took Earth and Mars. The Quarians claimed the colonies in the Etau Ceti system. Other powers took the remaining human territories. On Mars, the Mithran Mining Corporation began operations. The Red Planet had been a center for human manufacturing and research. The Mithrans were eager to discover what resources they could extract. Overseer Vaktul supervised the excavation of an abandoned human research facility. His gaseous form swirled with anticipation inside his containment suit. Humans might have been primitive, but they sometimes stumbled upon valuable discoveries. "Dig deeper," he ordered the worker drones. "Sensors indicate an unusual structure. Below this level, the mining lasers cut through Martian rock. After an hour, they revealed something unexpected, a massive crystalline structure buried beneath the research facility. It wasn't on any human schematic shared with the Confederation. "What is this?" Vaktul moved closer. The crystal pulsed with faint light. It seemed to respond to his presence. He reached out a manipulator arm to touch it. "Fascinating. Begin scanning procedures." As the scan beam touched the crystal, it flared with sudden blinding light. A wave of energy surged outward from the structure. Vaktul barely had time to send an emergency signal before the energy engulfed the mining operation. The pulse spread across Mars, then jumped to Earth. Similar crystals, hidden beneath the surface of every human world, activated simultaneously. Under Proxima Centauri's fourth planet, Colony Administrator Jeff Kim monitored the final stages of Quarian settlement. The crystalline aliens had taken over the former human colony called New Eden. They had adapted human buildings for their own use and were setting up crystal-growing operations. Jeff was one of the few humans who had chosen to remain physically present in the galaxy. He worked for the Confederation as a consultant, helping aliens understand human infrastructure. Most other humans had disappeared in the Great Vanishing 3 years earlier. In the colony's operations center, alarms suddenly blared. Jeff looked up from his console to see reality itself seem to fold. There was no other way to describe it. The air rippled like water, and where nothing had been a moment before, humans now stood. A woman stepped forward. She looked like a normal human, but something about her was different. Her movements were too fluid. Her eyes held knowledge that seemed beyond normal understanding. Energy patterns shimmered just beneath her skin. "Hello, Administrator Kim," she said. "I'm Catherine Rivera. We've returned to discuss terms." Jeff stared in shock. "What? How?" He backed away. "You're one of the vanished." Catherine smiled. "We prefer transcended. And yes, I was once a colonist here on New Eden." Around them, more humans appeared, stepping out of thin air into the colony center. The Quarian settlers froze in confusion, their crystal bodies reflecting light in patterns that signaled distress. Similar scenes played out across all former human territories. Not an invasion. The returned humans didn't attack or threaten, but an appearance as if stepping through a door from somewhere else. In the Galactic Council chamber, emergency signals flooded in from every world that had once been human territory. High Chancellor Ixos called an immediate session. "What is happening?" he demanded of his advisors. "How are humans appearing on these worlds?" Before anyone could answer, reality rippled in the center of the council chamber. A mild-looking human man appeared. He wore simple clothes and had a calm expression. "Hello," he said. "I'm Dr. Greg Warren, representing the United Consciousness of Earth. I believe it's time we had a real conversation." Guards moved to surround him, weapons drawn. Greg made no hostile moves. He simply waited, hands clasped before him. High Chancellor Ixos regained his composure. "How did you enter this chamber? Our security systems no longer apply to us," Greg said simply. "Your systems detect and block physical intrusion. We're not entirely physical anymore." The Vexillian Science Minister pushed forward. "What have you done? What happened to your species?" "We evolved," Greg replied. "You mocked our biological limitations, so we transcended them." "Impossible," shouted the Science Minister. "No species can self-direct their evolution. We didn't evolve our bodies," explained Greg, gesturing to himself. "This is still a human form. But what makes us us, our consciousness, now exists in a different substrate. We transferred our minds into a medium that exists partially outside normal spacetime." The council chamber fell silent. Such technology was theoretically possible, but centuries beyond what humans should have been capable of developing. "You're claiming your species has achieved consciousness transfer?" asked Counselor Vexinara, her crystal form vibrating with disbelief. "More than that," said Greg. "We discovered that reality has additional dimensions beyond the conventional 4. We call it the interstitium, a layer of reality that touches all points in conventional space but exists outside normal time flow." On New Eden, Catherine Rivera explained similar concepts to Jeff Kim and the Quarian settlers. "Our consciousnesses exist in the interstitium now," she said. "These physical forms are just interfaces we use to interact with conventional reality." "But why return now?" asked Jeff. "Why reveal yourselves after 3 years?" "We needed time to adapt to our new existence," Catherine answered, "and to prepare for this moment." She gestured around the colony. "This world, like all human worlds, was built by our labor. We've come to reclaim what's ours." The lead Quarian stepped forward, crystal limbs clicking nervously. "The Confederation granted us this colony. We have legal claim." "You cannot claim what was never abandoned," Catherine said firmly. "Our bodies left, but our presence remained. Those crystals your miners have been finding? They're nodes of our network, placed years ago in preparation." Back in the council chamber, Dr. Greg Warren delivered a similar message. "Humanity is reclaiming its territories, not through war. We have evolved beyond such crude methods, but through simple presence." "What does that mean?" demanded High Chancellor. Ixos Greg smiled. "It means we're already there. Everywhere humans once lived, we have returned. And this time we cannot be removed." To demonstrate, a guard fired his weapon at Greg. The energy blast passed through him without effect. "As I said," Greg continued calmly, "we're not entirely physical anymore. We can manifest physical forms when needed, but we cannot be destroyed by conventional means." The implication stunned the council. Humans had achieved what many considered impossible. They had transcended physical limitations and returned to reclaim their place in the galaxy. And this time, no one was laughing. The galaxy mocked Earth's exit until they saw the true cost. Part 4. In the days that followed, the Galactic Confederation faced a crisis unlike any in its long history. Humans had returned to all their former worlds, but as beings fundamentally changed. They existed in both physical reality and what they called the interstitium, a state of being that the Confederation's greatest scientists struggled to understand. The Council ordered emergency meetings. Representatives from all major species gathered to assess the threat and determine a response. High Chancellor Ixos called the session to order. "We must understand exactly what we're dealing with," he said. "Science Minister, your report?" The Vexillian Science Minister looked troubled. His normally smooth exoskeleton showed stress fractures. Our initial analysis suggests the humans have discovered a method of transferring consciousness to a quantum substrate that exists in additional dimensions beyond our standard 4. Explain in terms we can all understand, demanded Ambassador Zixitaran. The science minister's voice became strained. They can think and exist in a layer of reality we cannot access. They can appear anywhere they have built receiver nodes. They can move without ships. They can observe without being present. And they appear to process information at rates that make our most advanced AI systems seem primitive. Counselor Vexinara's crystal form dimmed with concern. Can we contain them? Block them? Not with current technology. The humans have leaped centuries beyond where we thought they were. On Earth, in what had once been Geneva, Switzerland, Catherine Rivera met with Dr. Greg Warren in a garden overlooking a lake. Nearby, Mithran officials waited nervously. The gaseous aliens had agreed to vacate Earth within 1 month. The council is in chaos, Greg said, smiling slightly. They never expected this. Catherine nodded. Most species are evacuating our worlds without resistance. They recognize the position they're in. And the others? The Vexillians on Alpha Centauri are being stubborn. They claim they've invested too much to leave. Catherine's expression grew serious. We may need to demonstrate the full extent of our capabilities. Greg looked troubled. We agreed not to use force. Not physical force, Catherine clarified. Just persuasion. The next day, on the human colony world that orbited Alpha Centauri, Vexillian Governor Kextol addressed his staff in their fortified compound. Tall and imposing in his metallic exoskeleton, he gestured at the holographic displays showing human forms appearing throughout the colony. We will not surrender to these primitives, he declared. Whatever trick they've developed, we will overcome it. The Vexillian Empire does not retreat. His chief security officer looked uncertain. Governor, our weapons have no effect on them. They appear inside our secure areas at will. Then develop better weapons, better shields. The governor slammed his armored fist on the table. I want solutions, not excuses. As he finished speaking, the air in the center of the room rippled. 3 humans appeared, 2 men and a woman. The woman stepped forward. Governor Kextol, she said calmly. I'm Sarah Wilson, Earth Diplomatic Corps. We've come to discuss your departure schedule. Guards immediately surrounded the humans, weapons drawn. The governor's exoskeleton flared with anger patterns. How dare you breach this secure facility? This is an act of war. Sarah remained calm. No, Governor. This is a demonstration. She turned to one of her companions. Dale, would you show the governor what we can see? The man named Dale nodded. He raised his hand and suddenly the room was filled with flowing patterns of light. The patterns connected every person present, revealing networks of energy that pulsed and changed with their thoughts. This is how we perceive reality now, explained Sarah. We can see the energy patterns that form the basis of all sapient thought. Your guards are afraid. Your chief security officer doesn't believe you can win this confrontation. And you, Governor, you know you should leave, but your pride won't let you. The governor stepped back, shocked. You can read minds? Not exactly, said Sarah. We can't hear specific thoughts, but we can see emotional states, intentions, deceptions. The patterns don't lie. She gestured and the display changed. Now it showed the entire colony world from above, then zoomed out to show the star system, then the sector, then a significant portion of the galaxy. Everywhere, similar energy patterns flowed. We can perceive and communicate across these patterns instantly, Sarah continued. While you were giving your speech here, we were simultaneously speaking with your superiors on the Vexillian homeworld. They've agreed to your withdrawal. The governor's exoskeleton changed color with shock. Impossible. They would have contacted me. Check your secure channels, Sarah suggested. The governor turned to his communication officer, who worked controls, with trembling hands. After a moment, he looked up. It's true, sir. Orders from High Command. We are to evacuate immediately. In the Galactic Council chamber, Dr. Greg Warren addressed the assembled representatives again. This time his appearance was expected. The Thai's security systems had been programmed to recognize him. "We've received numerous questions about our transformation," he began. "I'm here to provide answers." High Chancellor Ixos leaned forward. "What is the true nature of your evolution?" Greg smiled. "The interstitium has always existed alongside conventional reality. All species exist partially within it. It's where consciousness itself may originate. Humans simply found a way to shift our primary existence there, while maintaining connection to physical reality." "How?" demanded the science minister. "Such technology should be centuries beyond your development." "Perhaps we were underestimated," Greg replied mildly. "Or perhaps desperation breeds innovation. When the Confederation made clear we would always be second-class members, we sought another path." A Mithran representative floated forward. "Will you share this technology?" Greg's expression grew serious. "That brings me to my main purpose today. We've discovered something concerning. Our physiology, our specific neurological structure, is uniquely suited to this transition. For other species, the process appears to be dangerous, possibly fatal." Murmurs spread through the chamber. Greg continued. "We've detected multiple attempts to replicate our technology. We strongly advise against this. Our preliminary analysis suggests the consciousness transfer would cause permanent damage to non-human minds." The science minister's exoskeleton clicked with agitation. "You expect us to believe that only humans can achieve this transcendence?" "Convenient. Believe what you wish," Greg replied. "But we've provided the data to your research teams. Review it yourselves. We have no desire to see other species harmed through failed experiments." After the meeting, Counselor Vexenara approached Greg privately. "If what you say is true," she said, her crystal form vibrating with intensity, "humans now hold an insurmountable advantage in the galaxy." Greg shook his head. "We don't see it that way. We only wanted freedom and respect." "And yet," she observed, "you now have power beyond any other species. What will you do with it?" Greg looked at her thoughtfully. "That," he said, "is the question. Every species with power must answer. The Confederation had power over us and chose exploitation. We hope to make a different choice." As he spoke, Greg knew the greatest challenges still lay ahead, not just for humans, but for the entire galaxy. The galaxy mocked Earth's exit until they saw the true cost part. 10 years passed since humanity's return. The galaxy had changed in ways few could have predicted. The Galactic Confederation, once the supreme power among the stars, had fractured. In its place stood a new alliance, one where humans held significant influence, though they used it differently than the older races had expected. On the planet New Horizon, Susan Miller walked through fields of golden grain. Though her consciousness primarily existed in the interstitium now, she still enjoyed the sensation of physical form. Around her, both humans and aliens worked the land together. Frank joined her, materializing beside her with a smile. After 10 years in the interstitium, the couple had mastered moving between states of existence. "The Quarian delegation has arrived," he said. "They're waiting at the community center." Susan nodded. "Another attempt at transcendence?" "Yes. Their scientists think they've solved the compatibility problems." Together, they walked to the colony's central building. Inside, a group of crystalline Quarians waited. Their leader stepped forward, light patterns dancing across her surface. "Representative Miller," she said, her translator converting crystal vibrations to speech. "Thank you for meeting with us." "Of course," Susan replied. "You understand our concerns?" The Quarian leader's crystal form dimmed slightly. "We do. But our research suggests we've found a way to safely transfer consciousness. We request permission to use your network nodes for a controlled test. In the years since humanity's transformation, many races had attempted to follow their path to transcendence. The results had been devastating. The Quarians' first experiment had shattered their collective consciousness, leaving thousands in a catatonic state. The Vexillians' attempts had triggered a plague of madness. The Mithrans had suffered worst of all, Their gaseous forms had collapsed into unstable matter, causing painful deaths. "I'll consult with the Transcendence Council," Susan said, "but I must warn you, we've seen no evidence that non-human physiology can safely make this transition." In the Transcendence Council chamber, on Earth, Dr. Greg Warren reviewed the Quarian proposal with his colleagues. The council consisted of 12 humans who coordinated humanity's interactions with other species. "They're determined," said Dr. Warren. "This is their 5th attempt." Linda Porter, another council member, shook her head. "And it will likely fail, like all the others. Our neurological structure is fundamentally different. The interstitium accepts us because we evolved in a way that makes us compatible. So we deny their request?" asked Greg. "We must," Linda replied. "Not out of selfishness, but compassion. More deaths will only increase resentment." Beyond the failed transcendence attempts, other consequences of humanity's evolution had reshaped galactic society. Economies built on exploitation had collapsed when humans withdrew their labor. Trade routes became irrelevant when humans could transport goods through the interstitium. Military advantages evaporated when humans could detect buildups and appear at conflict points as mediators. Old powers had fallen. New alliances had formed. Some species embraced partnership with humanity, while others retreated to their homeworlds, resentful and fearful. In what had once been the Grand Council chamber, now repurposed as the Galactic Alliance headquarters, the final session of the transition government was underway. High Chancellor Exos, still serving in a reduced capacity, addressed the gathered representatives. 10 years ago, humanity changed the course of galactic history, he said, his blue, skin now pale with age. "We mocked their exit from our confederation. We thought ourselves superior. We failed to consider that they might have discovered something beyond our understanding. Ambassador Zixtoron's gaseous form had grown thin over the years. Multiple failed attempts at transcendence had damaged his species. We pursued their evolution and paid dearly," he said bitterly. "Thousands dead, millions suffering. Was this your plan all along, humans? To tempt us with power we cannot achieve?" Dr. Greg Warren stood to respond. "No, Ambassador. We warned against replicating our path. The cost you speak of came from ignoring those warnings." Counselor Vexnara's once brilliant crystal form had dulled. Her people had suffered greatly from failed transcendence attempts. "Yet you prosper while we decline," she said. "Your ships travel through fold space. Your people live for centuries. Your technology advances faster than we can comprehend." "We've offered alternatives," Greg reminded them. "Technologies suited to your physiologies. Medical assistance for those harmed in the attempts. Economic partnerships." This was true. Humans had proved more generous than expected. They offered help rebuilding economies, technological assistance tailored to each species, and medical aid to those damaged by failed transcendence attempts. Some species had accepted this help and thrived in the new order. Others clung to resentment, seeing humanity's evolution as an unfair advantage rather than a different path. After the Alliance meeting, Greg Warren walked through the gardens outside the chamber with Zara Kintel, the former council anthropologist, who had warned the Confederation years ago. She was one of the few who had accepted the new reality without resentment. "They still don't understand, do they?" she asked. Greg sighed. "Some never will. They see transcendence as a technology we're withholding, not a fundamental difference in our species." "And the future?" Zara asked. "Will humans continue to help those who once mocked them?" "Of course," Greg replied. "Evolution doesn't just change bodies or minds, it can change hearts too. We evolved beyond the need for revenge or dominance." In the interstitium, Admiral Paul Russell, whose physical body had died years ago but whose consciousness continued, observed the galaxy with Maya Collins. "Remember when they laughed at us in the council chamber?" he asked her. "When they called us primitives?" "I remember," Maya replied, her consciousness touching his across the non-physical plane. "They thought we were running away. The true cost wasn't what we paid to evolve. Paul said thoughtfully. It was what they paid for underestimating us. The great irony wasn't lost on either of them. The Confederation had mocked humanity for its limitations, never imagining humans would transcend those limitations in ways other species couldn't follow. They had dismissed human complaints, human potential, and human determination. In the end, humanity's greatest weapon hadn't been technology or military might. It had been the one thing the Galactic Confederation had dismissed as irrelevant: human ingenuity, driven by the need to overcome limitations rather than accept them. The galaxy had mocked Earth's exit. Now it existed in a reality shaped by humanity's return, a reality where the mockers had learned too late the true cost of their arrogance. And in the vastness of the interstitium, billions of human minds looked toward the future, not with thoughts of dominance or revenge, but with hope for a galaxy where all species might find their own unique paths to evolution.